So the winds are blowing with the Friday the 13th franchise, and a lot is changing. All the while, nothing is really changing. So, what is actually going on? Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Nick here from the Lost River Drive-In, and today I want to give you an update on Friday the 13th. All things Friday the 13th. This is going to be segmented. First and foremost, I want to say, if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join me down in the comment section to discuss Jason and all other horror icons that are on your mind and on your heart with me down below. Alright, so the first thing in way of announcements for the Friday the 13th franchise is the announcement of a Jason universe. And they made sure to aptly title universe with a 1 and a 3 in place of an I and an E. How creative, right? Now, what does this mean? Because I remember seeing this get posted by Bloody Disgusting on social media, and a bunch of people were running with it like, oh man, that means that we're getting new this and new that, and that means there's really wheels turning now behind the scenes with Friday the 13th. I would say hold your horses on that one, or don't even get them started at all, because it is not the case at all. In a statement given by Horror Inc.'s president, Robert Barsamian, he says this: "For decades, Jason shocked and thrilled audiences who kept coming back for more. We're excited to work with Victor Miller and Mark Toberoff on new projects we'll announce in the coming months. We're focused on honoring the legacy while elevating the fan experience and appealing to today's horror audiences as we develop new ways to watch, interact, and engage with Jason Universe." With the unique ability to remain at the forefront of pop culture for 44 years, Jason continues to top charts as one of the scariest villains of all time, with strong global awareness across multiple generations, thanks to billions of TikTok views, plus millions and millions of gamers and movie fans. We can't wait to introduce new Jason Universe activations to these amazing fans. Now, what does all of that mean, really? Well, Bloody Disgusting gave some context to those comments, and it's actually quite depressing if you're a big fan of Jason and want to see Jason on the big screen. This is not concerning films whatsoever. This is about other forms of media, games, books, comic books, tie-ins, you name it, merchandise, but not movies. And why is that? Up on the screen, I'm going to show you some screenshots of Larry Zerner, who is an attorney and a Friday the 13th alumni, breaking down why that is. He took to Twitter, or X, and basically said what we've been hearing for the last decade plus. It's all about the money. It's all about the money. It's all about the issues between Victor and Sean. If someone wants to come forward to try to make a movie, there's a lot of legal rights you have to work out. And neither side, at the end of the day, wants to let the other side get an equal, much less bigger slice of the financial pie than the other. That is the whole problem here. So, while this Jason universe can maybe give us a new Friday the 13th game, I still think that's wishful thinking, but maybe give us some new merchandise and maybe some new books, it's not going to give us a movie. This is solely just to try to keep Jason alive in some way without having to, I don't know, come together, Victor and Sean, and say, hey, let's hash this out and make a movie and we can both make a shitload of money. So, at the end of the day, this, announcement was kind of just a nothing burger and really is just saying, cool, so we're still not getting a movie for the foreseeable future. Awesome. Can't wait. Now, another piece of news regarding Friday the 13th is that the A24 Crystal Lake series, ordered by Peacock, has still been confirmed to be in development. And this was doubled down on after the Jason Universe announcement came. But it is pretty much starting from the ground up. All sources inside with knowledge of the situation basically say without the showrunner that was Brian Fuller, they still want to do this show, they've ordered this show, but they're having to start from the ground up. So, as I said in a previous video I did a week or so ago, we're looking at least a year and a half before we really see movement as far as like release date, trailer, photos, casting, all that kind of stuff. It's a ways out. Television shows take a long time to craft a lot of the time, especially when you're building from the ground up. This isn't continuing a season or whatever. No, they're kind of creating a new origin, a new place to begin with this franchise. So it's going to take a while. So kind of another depressing update. And then the one that I really wanted to dig into that is not only mildly depressing, but actually kind of anger-inducing. That is Sean S. Cunningham's comments at Texas Frightmare this weekend when he was asked during a panel about the future of Jason theatrically, to which he said essentially that companies don't want to give Friday the 13th a budget, and that the main reason we haven't seen a movie in over a decade is because no studio is really willing to take the chance on the property without knowing that it's going to make a lot of money. He then went on to say that Jason's not going to be dead forever, but it'll be at least 3 years before we get Jason Voorhees on the big screen again. Now, there's a lot to unpack in those comments, and I'm going to be blunt with you guys. Look, when it comes to Victor versus Sean, I've always been on side Sean Cunningham, and I think a lot of us have. He's the one that really had the passion for the franchise. Victor had the passion for the first movie, and then wanted to be cut in every movie after, even though he really didn't care after that. So I'm on Sean Cunningham's side. Having said that, this is complete bullshit. We know without a shadow of a doubt that Jason Blum has tried at least 3 times to get the rights to Friday the 13th. And if Jason Blum is trying to get these rights, and this is Blumhouse, this is where everybody goes now when it comes to horror. They are a money machine and they make money. Clearly, he was willing to pay a pretty penny to get those rights, and he has said as much. We've also heard rumblings over the years that New Line Cinema was interested, and even Paramount again. So, for Sean to say that a Texas Frightmare, it's one of 2 things. Either he doesn't want to get into the details because they're, really just tied up in the legal issues and not a lot of people really understand that or really care. Or 2, he's actually trying to save face with Victor Miller in the public eye, which would be admirable, especially if you actually are hoping to come together and make something one day. But regardless, it's not true. There are studios that have absolutely tried and put up good chunks of money to get Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th doesn't have a new movie and hasn't had one since 2009 because of the legal issues and because Victor Miller and Sean S. Cunningham cannot cohabitate. Full stop. That is exactly why we are where we are. So I understand on one hand why Sean was saying what he was, but that's just not the case in all actuality. And then as far as saying it'll be at least 3 years, honestly, I feel like that's optimistic. I feel like that's wishful thinking. Look, we don't even have a studio that has the rights to make a film. No less, we don't have an agreement between the 2 parties that have to agree to make a film in the first place. So, saying at least 3 years, that's actually probably cautiously optimistic. I'm going to go on record now saying, knowing what I know, if things persist the way they are, which is basically where they are right now, deadlocked, nothing moving, it's going to be closer to 2030 by the time we get a next Friday movie, if not after, then closer to 2027. I understand that Sean S. Cunningham really wants to kind of talk fans off the ledge and let them know, hey, Jason will be back. And I know he will be. We all know that. But come on now. So while there were a few updates regarding the Friday the 13th franchise, absolutely none of them are positive. And that seems like a trend that's been going on for the last 15 years. I don't like to have to bring this kind of stuff to you guys, and I don't like to have to read it myself. Even though Jason isn't my first love or anything like that, I do have a lot of reverence for this series and specific movies in the series. And I do think that while horror is hot right now, Jason and Freddy should be there too. And the fact that they're not is just a crying shame. And honestly, it's bordering on criminal. But I want to hear what you guys have to say down below. What do you think of these new developments with Friday the 13th? And at the end of the day, does it leave you feeling muted like I am? Or are you excited for some of this stuff? Comment down below, let me know. Leave a like on the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I want to thank you guys so much for stopping at the Lost River Drive-In. This is Nick, and I'm pulling out.